All right, today I'm gonna be talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I made a previous video that was like a spoiler-free, but this video in particular is gonna be spoiler-filled because I want to talk about some scenes in like particular or like what I thought about the movie. So like if you haven't watched the movie and you care about spoilers, stop here. Don't go any further. Where it's about to get heavy, deep. We're going like deep diving into this. Or if you don't care about spoilers, I guess go ahead watch it. But I think it's a kind of movie you have to like go in blind to. I think it just hits you harder. So I'm gonna start here. That being said, it's kind of difficult to go like super blind with this movies because like the trailers and things like that. A lot of people, I think there was a couple of leaks that I seen, but to be honest, it didn't really detract anything from the movie. If I was to say anything, like I enjoyed the first Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. When I saw the trailer for the second one, I guess it had me hyped. But usually when I watch a trailer, usually the trailers are like better than the movies because trailers like they have to encapsulate like a quick like summary of the story and like the best scenes for that. And in this case, it's kind of like the opposite. I feel like the trailer is like underwhelming compared to like the the greatness. I'm meat riding right now. The greatness that is that movie. The movie was fantastic. Way better than the trailers. Way better than like anything I've seen. It just it was just a ride. The movie picks up with Gwen, um, and which I okay. I liked Gwen in the first one, but the main star of the show was obviously like Miles and Peter B. Parker. Like they were clearly like that was their movie, right? Everyone else was kind of like side. Gwanda was like a bit more, you know what I mean? But here she was immediately like she started as like the main character, you know. From there they like battle these anomalies, and then you meet the Spider-Man 2099, Miguel. That's the name of the character, and it just immediately like thrusts us into like the plot of the story. You have anomalies that are going on, and they have these Spider-Men are trying to like defeat these anomalies. Anomalies are basically like um, the like things coming in from different dimensions, altering different dimension or different universes, which is like no good, you know. I really liked Gwen's story at the beginning. Miguel seems super fucking cool. I'm gonna call him Spider-Man 2099 because it feels weird calling them both by their first names. But it was really cool. Miles' story starts off well. They introduced the Spot, which is the main villain. Yeah, I'd call him the main. Yeah, he's the main villain for sure, and he's kind of different when it comes to villains. I actually do kind of like him. He starts off like goofy, but not goofy to like it detracts from his like villainy. I feel like because he's actually revealed to be like the scientist that got hit with the bagel from Miles, um, and it was really funny. But like yeah, he starts off like as like a run of the mill. They call him like the weekly villain, you know. But like as the movie goes along, he goes to like different universes and like gets more powerful from them, and then like becomes like a real big threat, like threatening to like tear like universes, dimensions apart, you know. But like he's kind of goofy, like quippy. I wouldn't say goofy. He's like quippy. He's a little funny. A little like nerdy. I think the nerdiness is what really gives him that like kick, you know. And he just like wants to be like treated very seriously. He wants to get like revenge on Miles for like what happened. And like as he gets stronger, like the more like serious, like the more serious he becomes. Not because he himself is a serious villain, because the threat which he now possesses, the power he now possesses is very threatening, and like it just changes the whole like tone of the show of or his character, you know. That's enough like the villain. Miles was very good in the movie. I think he was handled very well. I think I'm gonna talk to him about it later because of the ending of the movie. But the Spider-Man society or the whole like all the Spider-Man trying to capture Miles. Oh my goodness! Talk about action. So the movie takes a little while to build up on some like really good action, but like, and that's fine. It kind of reminds me of the Dark Knight movie where it took like an hour to get into the Batman, to the Batmaning. But like once you got there, like it was like worth the wait. This movie, it wasn't like an hour long. You didn't have to wait like forever to get into it, but there was definitely like a progression. But once you got there, it was like totally worth it. I think when they touched on like the different Spider-Man, there was like, and there was nothing like overwhelming about the Spider-Man. There's nothing like pointing fingers. You know what I mean? Like sometimes like they'll make a joke and they'll lean like really heavy into the joke, or like the characters like they're like, oh, like look at this character, you know, wink wink nudge nudge, right? You were kind of there and you could just like see them, but like there were just so many different varieties. And when you get to the action, it gets good. Um, there's a few things I noticed. This is like my science brain going on. This is like mostly a science channel. But when they're like fighting on the it's like a space elevator. I would assume it goes straight up, but instead of an elevator, it's like a bullet train. It's like a bullet train goes straight up. So those are some like really cool scenes in that like little spider community. When it's revealed that like Miles is the anomaly, and that's why like no, they haven't like his friends haven't gone to see him from like the previous movies. It was kind of like a heavy hitter. No, I wouldn't say like emotional, but it was like okay, like everything just started to make sense. It was like where like the pieces kind of fell together. Um, Speaking of pieces falling together, I feel like when it comes to animated movies or like movies targeted for children, you know what? I wouldn't even say that. I think most movies in general have a very bad way of like setting up like a reveal or like twisting. So there's a lot of like twist movies where the twist is like undeserving, or it just kind of came out of left field, didn't make sense. There was like no build up, like it was just kind of like thrust upon you just for the sake of tricking you. In this case, there was like a bunch of twists, which like oh man, like once it like you didn't see it coming, but like once it hits you, you're like oh my god, like that makes like complete sense. Like there's which is like what you could say for the most movie. There's nothing in the movie that like didn't make sense, at least from like what I can tell, like on like my one viewing of it. There's nothing about like oh like I don't know about that one. That doesn't really make any sense like story wise. Like we've never like established that before. But the twist in particular, I think if I was to give like any example, my little sister was a big fan of Elsa. When Hans like was a villain, like it low key didn't make any sense because he was like low key being like a good guy throughout the whole movie. Um, I don't know. I actually don't know any like adult movies with good twists. I think Seven. I like that movie. With like it has like a good twist. Those kinds of movies are generally really good at leading up to those. There's kind of if they weren't, they'd be very bad movies. The two twists I'm talking about in particular are obviously him being the anomaly is one of them. When he's in the wrong universe, that shit caught me like off guard. Like it took me a second to realize like when she was like, "Who the fuck is Spider Man?" I was like, "Oh, like you know like it sets something going, but like you're not quite there yet." Because you think that like Gwen is like outside the window listening to his conversation with his mom, but like it just catches you off guard. Um, and then when it's like, oh my god, like this isn't my universe because he's in the wrong universe because the spider that bit him and changed his DNA wasn't from the same universe. It was like a collective picture that was like or like a veil like that was just released like from over your eyes, like you just couldn't see it, but now it's there. Or and the biggest one, I think that was the biggest one for me. I watched it with my sister. The biggest one for her was when the Prowler like took his mask off and it was Miles, you know. Because in a different dimension, when he went to a different dimension where his original spider came from, his dad dies, and now he's like helping his uncle, and now he's taking on the mantle of the Prowler, you know, and so, which I think was done really well. I think Miles' character has like always been really good. I really liked him from the first movie, where it's kind of in the first movie it was kind of like a there was a bit of themes of like you know like split between worlds, you know what I mean, like he's multi-ethnic. He had to change schools from like his previous school to his new school, as well as that like he always like had a thing to do well in school and like be this person whose like parents always wanted him to be or like seeing him to be, and then added on to that he became Spider-Man, so now he has all these expectations to not only keep his normal life under control but to be like a good Spider-Man. Now it's like he's got all these expectations and all these things on him and all this weight on him, which he couldn't, which he was having like struggles like living up to, whether it be like expectations he brought on himself or expectations other people put on him. In this movie, he kind of still struggles with like balancing the half between like his spider work and his like actual school work. He even gets late to his like college counseling and then leaves. Like he shows up, says like a couple things, and like leaves immediately afterwards. But yeah, his relationship, his relationship, like his friendship with the spider people, as well as specifically like with Gwen, was done really well. I think he doesn't have like that fish out of water, but definitely that something's like immediately strange from the beginning. Like everyone's kind of avoiding him. You can't do this. You can't go there. You can't help anyone. How he's like an anomaly, like literally even in the world of Spider-Man being like the weirdo, like kind of ostracized alone. Even when they band together, he himself is like weirdly ostracized from even the group of Spider-Man when he's only wanted like other groups of Spider-Man. And I think the biggest one for sure was when in another universe where he's the Prowler. Um, I believe I from okay. I don't know anything about these. I don't know if there's like they're like taking this information from like comics or whatever. I've never been like a comic guy or anything like that. So, but I'm pretty sure he's a villain in that universe. If it comes out in the next movie, he's like an anti-hero or something. Like sure, or like even like less realistically, like probably a good guy. That would catch me off guard. But I guess like it just shows like I don't know. I don't know what that's to say. Maybe like different universes, like different actions and different things can like change a person like fundamentally. You know what I mean? Like we see like Miles Morales as this good guy, like always want to help people, help his dad. Like nothing, like even if the the unraveling was to happen, like to save other people's like captains or dads or whatever, like he would like do that. You know what I mean? Like without a question. uh, but in another universe, that he could probably like, become like an evil like a villain, like the Prowler or whatever. I guess it was a cool thing for me. I'm really curious to see like how that goes down. If they get in a tussle, I'm gonna need Spider-Man Morales to beat Prowler Morales' ass, bro. You know what I mean? But I guess I'm excited. That's kind of like all I really had to say about the movie. It was good. It was really good. You shouldn't be watching this if you haven't seen the movie yet. Um, but if you haven't for some reason, go watch the movie. It's really good. Um, yeah, and I just can't wait for the next one to come out. That's kind of like all I had to say about the movies. Um, other than that, I think I'm finished. Well, peace out. Have a good day.